I know it doesn't look like it, but I actually drove this car this morning to get my inspection, and now I'm pulling the motor out. She's almost out. Everything in the front is clear. I just gotta figure out if I could take it out without moving this. So it's the next day. We're getting ready to put the new engine and rental transmission back in. So I was able to get a set of innovative mounts to drop into the vehicle, so I could just get the engine back in place at least, thanks to backyard builds. But yeah, it's very helpful. This way I could prop it up, start installing the flywheel and clutch, and hopefully get everything into the vehicle tonight. So there it is, it's on. I'm just gonna torque these down. It's marked right here, so as long as those are lined up, I should still be within balance. But everything on this should be fine, so I'm gonna tighten these down, torque them, put some Loctite on it, and hopefully that solves all the issues. So everything's on, going smoothly, so hopefully when I'm putting it on, there shouldn't be no issues. So it's the end of the afternoon. Tired. Had to run back and get a different transmission from my boy. Finally put everything together. Now put a half shaft on. I still have to get this little section, and I want to get the track tough unit for right here, but funds. Not gonna lie, it's like a lot of energy. But it's in. All the runarounds, get the new transmission, get the bolts, finding the bolts, throwing everything in, so everything seemed to be good. So now just gonna order up the rest of the parts, starter, and have a slave. So it's the next weekend, got a few parts. We have the starter. I'm trying to see if I get this thing started tomorrow. It should be a Sunday, so I'm just gonna start bolting everything up. Hopefully everything works on it. So this is the one I'm going to be using. This is just to put it on to test it, because I have the tool more or less set up for this setup. Eventually I'll switch over to the full scope to ultra manifold, but for right now, at least for the first startup, I'm just going to throw the factory stuff on, so at least I can run that, and quote unquote the tuning won't be too off, because I have to get that tracked tough swirl pot and thermostat delete setup. But more or less that should be it. I'm trying to get a placement for the turbo so I can do the drain, and hopefully I can start this thing up relatively soon. But also I'm going to place the radiator here to make sure I have room for it. So I'm going to start doing a little time lapse, put it together, and see how far I get. So now we're on to the good stuff. So this is how it looks right now. It looks like everything should clear. Like I said, I'm gonna go mess with the rest for right now, but once I clock the turbo down a little bit or move it or whatever, put an elbow on it, it should work. Right now what we're doing is we're taking out the steering rack. This is the manual steering rack. I forgot to get the inner tie rods, so I'm just gonna install it, and now just take these up and install it in the car. It's not that difficult. So the steering rack, manual steering rack is installed. Give that a little preview. Okay, so that's still back in place. Still have to do the boots on the inner tie rod, but that shouldn't be a problem. So for the next aspect of this conversion, we have to change the entire steering column. I'm gonna have to drop these. Should be 4 bolts holding it up. These 2 right here, and 2 more up top here somewhere. So this is the new kit. This is the electronic power steering that goes underneath the steering column. The first section of the column in, and there it is. I had to cut it and re-weld it a few times. So before it was hitting this, it wouldn't move. Now we got full throttle. Clutch is fine, and now the brake is fine. Just gotta take it off, weld everything up, and then we should be good to go ahead with the second half. So we're back again on electric steering. We're trying to get everything hooked up. So far we have this shaft welded up. That's where the steering wheel goes, so that's all taken care of. Now I just gotta bolt it on, mount it up, make sure everything is in place, and then hook up the secondary support. So I'm gonna figure it out, and then I'll show you guys how it's done. So this is how it's supposed to be. I have this set at an angle where it's tucked up in the corner over there. But everything is welded on. Now this input shaft is connected directly to the motor, and this outer side is just basically a shield to help support it to the body of the vehicle. Everything's mounted up. See how I'm placed by this little bracket over here. Held in place like that. And this two are the normal two. I'm gonna attach this. Hopefully everything is clear and works smoothly. If it does, then that'll be good. If not, I have to figure something else out. Everything is bolted in. I'm just gonna put the steering wheel on, test it, and make sure everything works. It doesn't bind up. If it does, I'm gonna have to separate it and cut and re-weld. If it does bind, I will have to separate it and cut and re-weld that attachment. So the steering wheel is on, it's turning freely. So everything is turning. It doesn't seem like it's binding. So I think if anybody wants to sponsor some, titanium hardware, I'm not gonna say no. So we're gonna start putting on the parts back on this car to close everything up. But good thing is, got all my manifold back and also the hot side for the turbo. So I'm gonna take it out. Some dress up hardware. It will definitely look a lot better, but everything is in. Just gotta bolt up the wastegate. It out. This is it. And versus this. So this is what we're gonna install. It should make it a lot easier. Just go to electric water pump. I'll be honest, it was a pain to get on a little bit just to line it up, but it does clean it up a lot. So now I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do regarding the fan switch to control the fan. They sell I think it's a Dave Craig fan control unit. It's like $60. So I may end up getting that. Just my luck. This is why I had to replace this, because as you can see, it's smoking. So these are all the parts I needed for the shifter cable assembly. This is just basically to get the car moving. The shifter cables are in. Yeah. So overall, everything is good for first test. So we're going to test it. So we're going to try it right now and make sure everything works. But I will tell you, these 20s, they were a pain to make. So the verdict is still out. Everything's hooked up. I'm testing it. Right now I'm waiting for another sensor to come in that can fit into the radiator. And then that should be working and wired up correctly. Right now it's working, I believe. For some reason it's saying 9 volts from a battery. So I got to figure out what's going on with that. But diagnosis check. I think it's because of how I have the fan hooked up. But radiator is working. I have everything set up in the car. It's working now, so I'm pretty happy. Electric water pump is on. Everything is good. I think I have a small leak here. I got to tighten this up a little bit. Fan is working. Everything is set to come at 170. I know it's a little low for this engine, but I'm just testing it out right now. So with the 170, make sure the fan kicks in, keeps the car at a steady 170. So I don't have no problem. And right there, keeps it right there. There you go. I'm gonna switch out the water to antifreeze soon, since winter's almost here. And then once that's done, I guess see if I get the fuel tech. Yeah, I'll be honest, man. I want the FT700, but I ain't gonna lie to you. YouTube is not paying enough that I could go spend $3,000, $4,000 in the ECU right now for this car. So I might just end up getting the 55, the FT550, because at least that's decent to do what I need to do. Clean up the harness, run the new setup with the bigger injectors and everything. So today's a nice day. It's about 55 degrees. So this is gonna be the last day I'm driving this car for the year. So I'm just taking a quick spin to make sure everything's good. Hopefully next spring hits, I'll be able to just put everything in the way it should be. Hopefully by then I should have the transmission back. ECU situation worked out. And just a lot of stuff. So that's one thing about this car. This car is very, very squirrely since it doesn't have a full alignment. So yeah, whenever you're hitting it, you gotta be careful because this thing will do whatever the hell it feels like doing. It's all over the place sometimes. So, but overall though, it is definitely a fun car to drive. A very usual sight. So I'm wrapping her up for the winter. Hopefully when spring hits, I'll be able to hit the ground running with this thing and everything will be fine. I know, came a long way this year.